Many elderly parents want to know whether they can sell their home to a child for, say, a dollar. Well, here to talk with us about that is Harry Margolis. He's the author of Get Your Ducks in a Row. Harry, welcome.
Good to see you, Bob.
So this is a question that you get all the time. I'm
Yeah,
curious, how do you answer it?
we usually say no for a few reasons. There are risks to doing so. So if you give your house to your kids, it's subject to claim potentially if they run into financial trouble, if they get divorced, if they pass away. What happens to it if they don't have an estate plan? If they get sick and they need to get benefits for something, so it creates potential risks. But some people still decide they want to do it because there are other reasons. They want to put a child's name on it. They want to avoid probate. They want to do it for Medicaid planning purposes, to get it outside of their estate so that it's not subject to claim for Medicaid estate recovery. So there are arguments on both sides, and it depends on the situation. But one tax argument or one tax issue is what often convinces people not to do it. And it's often the kids. The kids might come in saying, well, shouldn't my parents transfer their house into my name, again, to avoid probate, to protect it in case they need Medicaid to pay for long-term care? And we then explain the tax consequences to them, which all has to do with capital gain. So if you sell property, you have to pay a tax on the capital gain. The capital gain is the difference between what's called the basis and what you get for the house. And the basis starts out as what you paid for the house. So if you paid $200,000 for the house, that's the basis. It can get adjusted. So if you paid $200,000 for it, and then 10 years later, you redid the whole kitchen and that cost you $100,000, that new investment is added to the basis. So the basis becomes $300,000. So now you have a $300,000 basis house. If you then sell it for $700,000, and you have a capital gain of $400,000. That's the difference between the proceeds and the basis. Now, for most people who are selling their own home, they can exclude some or all of the gain because you're allowed to exclude the first $250,000 of gain. And if you're a married couple who are both owners of the property, together you can exclude $500,000 of gain. So an example I just gave you, that there's no tax because the gain was $400,000, the exclusion was $500,000, assuming it's a married couple, and there's no capital gains tax. Well, that changes if you give the house to your daughter. If she's not living there as her own residence, and she sells the house for $700,000, she has $400,000 of gain. And between federal and state taxes, that might be 20%, which might be $80,000. So we explain these to the kids that they've got a definite $80,000 hit, perhaps, or more if it's a more valuable house. The long-term care that they're trying to protect from is not a certain thing. One thing's certain, the other isn't. And the reason this all matters is because of what's called step up in basis. So when the parents give Emily, say their child, the house, she gets it with the same basis that they get it. But if she inherits it, the basis gets adjusted to the value on the date of death. So if the parents or the surviving parent dies, and when they die, the house has a fair market value of $800,000, and then it passes to Emily. Then Emily has it with a basis of $800,000 instead of $400,000 or $300,000 in my example. And so then she sells it. I think I changed the numbers a little bit when I was talking from $700,000 to $800,000, but we'll say a few more years went by. And she then sells it for $800,000 and there's no tax. So we've all this. So it's a definite savings to basically wait until death to have it change hands.
Yeah. In the example that we're basing this on, it comes from an Ask Harry question. And I think in that question, the reader had asked, what if I sell my house for $1? Mm-hmm. And in that case, does the dollar become the basis? Because that's what
no.
for the property. No.
I mean, the dollar is really just, it's really just a gift of the house. People put $1 on the deed because the deeds have to have some amount written in it. So they write $1, but it's a gift of the house. So that doesn't mean the basis gets reduced to $1.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then there are a couple of things. There's a term in the Ask Harry Q&A about a ladybird deed. Do folks need to know what that is and how to use
Yeah.
it?
So there are ways to have some protection and still get the step up in basis. So you can do that through various kinds of trusts. They can avoid probate. If it's an irrevocable trust, it can also have these Medicaid protections. A life estate is a deed where you actually put the parents in our example would put Emily's name on the deed, would be a transfer to Emily, but they would retain a life estate, which gives them the right to live there for the rest of their lives, which gives them a lot of protections, and she still gets to step up in basis. A ladybird deed is a form of a life estate that's permitted in some states, not in my state of Massachusetts, but in a lot of other states, where actually the parents can retain even more powers in the life estate deed. So they can, it's almost a transfer on death deed, which is also allowed in some states, like a transfer on death bank account or investment account. And the parents can actually still convey the house. They can still mortgage. They do a lot of things without Emily's acquiescence, signing off on it, which is not true with a normal life estate. With a normal life estate, since Emily has an actual property interest, she would have to agree to any transaction involving the property.
Yeah. So it sounds like bottom line is if you're an older parent and you want your child to own the house that you have, don't sell it for $1 and don't gift it. Rather, it's better to take advantage of the step up in basis that's available on the death of the house
Right.
owner.
And then think about some of these other alternatives, whether it's a life estate, a ladybird deed, or a trust.
Yeah. All right, Harry, we covered a lot of ground. Anything we missed or bears re-emphasizing?
I think that's a good introduction.